On Foundation 6, we're going to recognize and interpret equations of lines in both slope-intercept and point-slope forms, and we'll also be writing some equations, both through lines, given a line and a slope, given 2 points parallel to whatever slope, and then also of perpendicular bisectors given the endpoints of the line we're bisecting. So quick review, you've got your slope-intercept form. Your slope is going in for m, and your y-intercept, so where the line crosses the y-axis, goes in for b. And then you've also got point slope form. Again, your slope goes in for m, and then I'm putting in a ordered pair for x1 and y1 here, and notice I'm subtracting those, which is counterintuitive. So when I'm graphing a line in slope-intercept form, I'm going to find the y-intercept first. So for that orange line, I found +4, mark that point, and then I'm just going to count using my slope. I'm going to go down 3 over 2, down 3 over 2, mark a few points, and play connect the dots, and the result is that orange line. Repeating the same thing with this blue line, I found -1 first, marked it with a point, and then I just counted with my slope. I went up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, got a few points, and played connect the dots. Repeat that same process with your green and pink lines. Noticing in this one, they flipped what we normally write. Normally we have mx plus b. They were kind of sneaky. They wrote it as b plus mx. Still the same process. Your slope is 3, your intercept is 2. When I'm graphing using point slope form, I'm going to find my ordered pair. So in this case, -4, +5, and I would mark that point, and then I'm using the slope from there to mark a few more points and play connect the dots. Remember, when you see that minus in front of it, it's really a positive value, and when you see that plus in front of it, it's really a negative value. So that blue line, I'd be marking the point +4, -2, and going from there. All right, now we're going to practice writing equations, which gets a little more into the nitty-gritty. So in this one, I'm asked to write an equation that passes through the point -1, 5, and has a slope of -4. So I'm going to do this in point slope form. My slope -4 goes out front. My x value goes in the parentheses, and my y value goes with my y. And if it doesn't say what form to write it in, I can be done here and I can leave it just like this. If it does tell me that they want it in that slope-intercept form, or if it's a drop-down or a fill-in-the-blank that says it has to be or makes it clear that it has to be, then I need to do a little bit of algebra. So I'm going to have y minus 5 is -4x minus 4. Add the 5 over. And now my equation is in slope-intercept form. If I wanted point-slope form, though, I would stop at that very first line. All right, this time it says, hey, it wants a line that goes through both of these points. So the first thing I need to figure out is my slope. So I'm taking 7 minus -1 over 5 minus 4, and I get 8 over 1, which is just 8. Now I can take that and throw that into point slope form. And I can choose either point that I want. I chose 5, 7 because they're both positive, and so I didn't have to think about, oh, I got to change this negative to a positive or anything like that. I could just throw it in to point slope form. And now I can go ahead and multiply and distribute that 8 if I'm trying to get this into slope-intercept form. So here's my equation in slope-intercept form, and here it is in point-slope form. On this fifth example, they give us the point and they tell us the slope. So I can jump right in and just throw it into point-slope form. My slope's going in right in front of the x. My y value goes with the y value, and my x value goes with the x value. If I want to get it into slope-intercept form, now I'm going to do a little algebra. When I add that 1 over, I'm left with 1/2 x. On the sixth one, I'm writing an equation that passes through a given point, and this time it's going to be perpendicular to the line y equals 2x. If this was my slope, my perpendicular slope is the negative reciprocal of that. So I need to flip that into 1/2 and make it negative. So I'm using 1/2 as my slope. Again, I'm going to start in point slope form. I'm putting in my perpendicular slope, my y value with my y value, and my x value with my x value. And notice I changed that x minus to an x plus because the x value I was given was negative. If I want this in slope-intercept form, I need to distribute that 1/2, add that 5 over, five is the same as 10 halves, so I really have 10 halves minus a half, which will simplify to be 9 halves. On these last two, I'm writing perpendicular bisector equations. So I want it to go perpendicular to a line segment. These are my endpoints, and I'm going to make it go through the midpoint there as well. So I need to find a few things. I need to find the midpoint, and then I need to find the slope so that I can find the perpendicular slope. So I'm going to find the midpoint first. I'm going to do 8 plus 10 divided by 2, 2 plus 6 divided by 2. Just finding the average of the x and the average of the y's. 8 plus 10 is 18. Cut in half is 9. 2 plus 6 is 8. Cut in half is 4. I'm going to color code this so I'm a little more consistent with what I had been doing. And then I'm finding the slope. The slope of the line segment that I was given is 6 minus 2 over 10 minus 8, which is 4 over 2, or just 2. When I go ahead and find the opposite reciprocal of that, the opposite reciprocal of positive 2 is negative 1/2. So I'm using my midpoint 9,4 and my perpendicular slope, and I'm going to throw that into point slope form. So I'm using the perpendicular slope and the midpoint to write my equation. And then if I want it in slope-intercept form, I'm going to do a little bit of algebra. 4 is the same as 8 halves, so when I add that over, 8 plus 9 is 17 halves. We'll do that one more time. We want it to be perpendicular, and then we're going to have it go through the bisector. So first I need to find my midpoint, which is 0 minus 10 divided by 2, and 4 plus 0 divided by 2. Wow, I was really nice to you when I made these numbers. 0 minus 10 is negative 10 divided by 2. My x value will be negative 5. 4 plus 0 is 4 divided by 2 is positive 2. Then I'm going to find the slope of the line that's perpendicular, so lowercase m. 4 minus 0, and 0 minus a negative 10. I get 4/10 or 2/5. Because I want it to be perpendicular, I need to flip that and make it negative, and have negative 5 halves. Now that I have my midpoint and my perpendicular slope, I can throw this into point slope form. Notice again, because that x value here is negative, it had to become a positive when I wrote that equation because I was subtracting off a negative. If I want it in slope-intercept form, I'm going to do a little bit of algebra. Two is the same as 4 halves, so when I add that over, I get 21 halves.